was told by some people that the super savers were leading the movement, and they told me what the super saver was a person who represents 15% of the population who saves more than 20% of their money for future retirement. How much do people generally save? I mean, you the tax guy. How much do people generally save after they do
Much,
their
much,
taxes and
much
stuff?
less than that. Much less than that.
Much less than that.
Yeah. Most people, statistically speaking, in America, have very, very bad saving habits. Okay. So that is just a reality. Saving, and one of the reasons is because saving is not really a very dynamic way to make progress.
Okay.
Unless you have a serious plan and a strategy as to what you are going to do with the savings, simply saving money is not really a complete strategy. You cannot save your way to financial independence.
That was my next question. Can you actually save your way to financial freedom? And now that you said that, why not? See, why can't they do that?
And that is due to the influence of inflation. That's one, which affects our entire economy and affects the dollar, and the fact that we are using fiat currency. So our currency and the value of our currency is out of our control. Like, I may be working and making money, making dollars, but I have no control over the value of the dollar. So if the value of the dollar is decreasing as I accumulate it, even though I'm accumulating it and saving it, I may actually be losing. Okay, even though I'm saving, I'm losing simultaneously because the value of the currency is decreasing. Therefore, that awakens the concept of saving in a form, in an asset that holds its value. Like, like commodities, like gold, for instance.
So as the dollar so-called shrinks, as you say, what does gold not shrink?
Gold also fluctuates in value because there is an inverse relationship between the dollar and gold, which basically means that as the value of the dollar goes down, the value of gold goes up. As the value of the dollar goes up, the value of gold comes down. But if we look at it over a period of time, and anyone can do the knowledge, which is something I highly always suggest, that, even though we may listen to podcasts and listen to very intelligent people and very wealthy people and all that, we still need to do the knowledge. It's not like, oh, I heard it, now I'm just going to run with it.
Right.
Don't run, unless you get some confirmation on what you are hearing and what you are learning. So if we look at the value of the dollar over the last 100 years, over the last 50 years, over the last 20 years, we will see the value of the dollar has consistently decreased. It has lost value. And in parallel, we can look at the value of commodities. Look at the value of silver. Look at the value of gold. You look at the value of palladium or any other commodities and see what has been the trend over the last 100 years, 50 years, 20 years, 10 years, 5 years. You know what I'm saying? Get the evidence and then come to your conclusion in addition to whatever you have heard. And if you do that, you will see that gold has increased in value. And gold has maintained as an asset over thousands of years. So it is a very solid asset. Gold is a solid asset. So therefore, my conclusion is, if I am going to save over the long term, I want to be a super saver.
Okay.
Then I think the super way to save would be, I'm going to save in gold, because gold holds its value in relation to inflation.
Now, when you advise people to save in gold, I mean, I'm no genius, Steve. I don't really know about this stock market thing. Is that what you're talking about?
No, not stocks. There are ways in which you can purchase interest in gold on the stock market. So the stock market does sell interest in gold. So like ETFs and other certificates you can get
electronic,
for gold.
Right. Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm referring to. What I'm referring to is actually acquiring the asset itself, 24 karat, 999.9% pure gold, physical gold bullion. I'm talking about actually accumulating the physical commodity of gold.
Steve, they said when Prince died, man, he had like 80 gold bars in his basement or something like that. I mean, I don't got money to get 80 gold bars. I mean, Prince was a millionaire.
Right.
So I mean, how would that how can a person like me save in gold?
Well, previously, the way the market was structured, people were buying, kilos of gold, ounces of gold. So these larger quantities of gold are prohibitively expensive. Okay? Let me ask you this. How much is a kilo of gold now? You have any idea?
I know a gram is like $5, so it's got to be somewhere, give or take 50,000. Tenth of a gram.
Right. A tenth of a gram is $5.
Right.
Right. A tenth of a gram would be $5. A gram is about $50 right now.
Right.
Right. An ounce is about $1,500 right now.
Okay.
A kilo is about $45,000 right now.
Okay.
So let me ask this question. Which obviously, for the average working class person to purchase a kilo of gold for $45,000 is probably beyond my parameters. I cannot afford to buy a kilo of gold.
Right.
I don't have $45,000.
Me neither.
To actually allocate for that, right?
Right.
So then let's move down to an ounce. Let's say, okay, I can't afford a kilo. Let me see if I can grab an ounce. Well, an ounce is $1,500.
Right.
Again, when I sit down and do my budget, that's out of my reach. I cannot afford to accumulate gold in that quantity. But right. I want gold, but I don't have $1,500 to allocate to the accumulation of gold because I need my cash flow in order to run my business, in order to take care of my financial responsibilities. I need my cash flow. I don't have the cash to put aside, to accumulate an ounce of gold. But how about a gram of gold? If a gram of gold costs, say, somewhere between $50 and $60, that is affordable for me.
Right.
So I can accumulate gold by the gram. Okay? And that would be my strategy. So my strategy would be to accumulate gold in small quantity. But I still think that this is still a question. I think people wonder, well, like, how would you do that?
How would you do that?
You know what I'm saying?
The GoldSavings.Info crowd would love to know. How would you do that?
Just imagine, historically, we have to realize historically, whenever it comes down to money, stocks, investment, business, profits, all of these things, there are an infinite number of scammers out there. There's scams being created as we speak. There's scams being executed as we speak. In any market, every market, whether it's the FX market, whether it's the currency market, the stock market, there are scams. Look at Madoff, right?
Bernie.
Yeah, Bernie Madoff. Right?
Right.
$50 billion stock market scam. Everybody, was, accepting him as the god and the expert and all that, and he was a scammer.
Right.
So similarly, in any market that we go, that is there. And that stops, that fear of the market, the fear of loss, the fear of scamming keeps so many of us out of the market, especially us working class people, because we don't have any money to lose, right?
Right.
I mean, how much money, can you afford to lose, or I afford to lose? I can't really afford, to be losing money.
Right.
Okay. So I would say, as far as gold acquisition, we need to find a reputable source for our gold, where we would acquire our gold. And so we have to do some knowledge. We got to do some research. We can't just run with whatever we hear, and just believe everything we, find on the internet or whatever the case may be. So, I mean, I don't know how appropriate it is, but would it be appropriate for me to mention any company for gold acquisition purposes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so for me, after doing my homework and after meeting a number of affiliates in a company called Carrot Bars, now that's not the kind of carrots that you eat or that you juice, not those kind of carrots. like 24 karat gold, like 24 karat gold as a company, Carrot Bars, that actually has the infrastructure and has the business plan and has a model for making gold accessible to working class people like myself, who can only afford small quantities of gold. But let me tell you, I've acquired a few, grams of gold myself.
Okay.
And hey, it's a beautiful feeling, man. It's a beautiful feeling to have a little bar of gold that's mine. Because remember, we talked about the control of the value of the dollar and the fact that the dollar keeps decreasing in value.
Okay.
Man, it just feels good to have physical gold. So I have some physical gold myself, and I save gold online. Okay. I have my own gold account. Actually, with Carrot Bars, you can actually open up a free gold account whereby you can begin accumulating and saving in gold, which I think is a very dynamic thing. And I think it's a 21st century move.
Right.
Because previously, how many of us were even thinking about gold?
Right. That's the one secret that none of us was ever taught. Right.
Absolutely.
Right. Gold is strong. So, just from a tax point, as you PowerTaxx Steve, man, what would you suggest with gold savings? How much gold would you suggest for at least, I know we don't want anybody to shoot for the minimums because we all want to retire early. That's what the whole movement is about. But what would you suggest putting in place to at least, hedge against this inflation thing that you was talking about?
Well, what I would suggest, which I have also learned from other entrepreneurs who I respect, is that we accumulate gold on a regular basis. Kind of like the same way that the super savers are doing. What are the super savers doing? Basically, the super savers are saying save a minimum of 15% of your income. Okay? Save on a regular basis. Okay? Make it a part of your strategy, your everyday strategy. Because the one of the financial dynamics is called the time value of money. Okay? Time value. Because the way we are miseducated in all of the schools and colleges and universities, we have a tendency of thinking of money in huge lump sums. That's what we think of money. I want $1 million, right? Nobody ever says, I want $20. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
it's like,
right.
It's like, well, how much money you want? I want $1 million. I want 100 million. I want to be a billionaire. I want to be a trillionaire. I want to be a zillionaire. Okay. Now, So because we think like that, it kind of muddies the whole picture. Because actually, in order to become a millionaire, you're actually going to have to do it in increments. You need incremental advancement as time is going by in order to become financially independent. So the method that I have learned that's most effective is that the same way the super savers do, the super savers are saying, don't spend more than 50% of your income on your expenses.
Right.
In other words, bring your lifestyle under your control.
Right.
Stop chasing the newest shiny object. Just stop that. And look at what you actually need for your subsistence. What do you need? And get your budget under 50% so that you're able to pay your rent, you're able to pay your transportation bill, your cell phone bill, your insurance, and everything. You keep that under control. All right, say under 50%. I mean, what the percentage is, it's really personal, but that could be a model. Then you're taking 15% minimum and you're saving. So if you take that same attitude and you apply it to accumulating gold, then you will be accumulating gold on a regular basis, perhaps on a monthly basis or bi-weekly basis, but you put it on auto. Saving should be done automatically because it's about accumulation over a period of time. Right? If I want $1 million, there's a million ways to make $1 million. It would be if I want to make $1 million and I want to make it by getting $1 a day, it's going to take me 1,000,000 days. Right? If I want to buy $10 a day, it's going to take me 100,000 days. $100 a day is going to take me 10,000 days. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's incremental. So begin acquiring assets. This is the fundamental principle, is to acquire assets that hold their value and assets that produce revenue. Gold is an asset that holds its value. Gold is saving. It's not investing in gold. We're talking about using gold as a savings, as it's like just visualize bars of gold. Like, I'm sure many of us have seen bars of gold in movies and things like that, right?
Absolutely.
So think in those terms. But we're accumulating tiny bars, not huge bars, because we can't afford the huge bars right now. So accumulate tiny bars of gold. Keep accumulating. Mm-hmm. Continue accumulating. And know that they hold their value internationally. Gold is respected internationally. In spite of any type of trade agreements between countries or arguments between countries or whatever type of battles the different countries are having on an economic platform, right? Tariff wars and all that. In spite of all that, gold holds its value.
Steve, I ain't trying to cut you off. Every time you say gold bars, it just makes me flash back to the news when they ran in Saddam Hussein's house and he just had all that gold in there, man. And it was like, he just looked like the Sultan. Like, I just felt like nobody could have that kind of gold unless you had that kind of money. You know what I mean?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's really almost unbelievable.
Absolutely.
Really. Wow, okay. That's cool, man. It was good talking to you today, man. I always appreciate the knowledge, man. Always appreciate the knowledge.
Hey, sir, I appreciate the motivation, man. I appreciate the encouragement, and the reciprocation, because it's reciprocatory. You know what I'm saying? It's give and take.
Look, PowerTaxx Steve, man, you bless the community, man, with a lot of things, man. Why don't you do me a favor and let the community know how they can get in touch with you, when you're not on Gold Savings Info podcast and they need you personally.
Definitely. So my company's PowerTaxx. PowerTaxx. My email address is powertaxx@gmail.com. My name is Stephen Hutchinson. So we don't just do your tax returns, but we also answer your questions and help you understand what's going on in your tax return so that we help you increase your financial literacy. Wow. And if you want to reach out to me directly, my number is 610-955-6508. That is 610-955-6508. And thank you, my brother. KC, thank you so much, sir.
Hey, if PowerTaxx Steve don't know, don't nobody know. That's what I tell him. All right, Steve, man, thank you.
Yes, sir.